Hi there. We just watched Call Me By Your Name.
Yeah.
And like 90% of the films on this channel so far, I've seen it, but Mark hasn't.
Yeah, we need to watch more that we just both haven't
Yeah.
seen.
Yeah.
I don't know, this kind of happens a lot where you have a film and you're really excited about it and you want to show me.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's... I don't know. Yeah, I love this. It's 5 stars.
Yeah, of course it is.
Yeah.
There's no way.
Yeah, this is... I haven't seen a lot of this kind of film, the cinema. What's the right term for it?
What exactly are you... I don't know what you're
Like,
going
it's
for.
erotic cinema, but it's romantic
Oh,
cinema.
man. It's romantic,
It's,
but
I guess...
it feels so real.
Yeah.
Which we'll talk more about in spoilers.
Yeah.
But like, there's nothing that's romantic. Well, there's nothing that's romanticized.
Yeah.
Well, you can argue that some of the vocabulary and some of the dialogue is heightened.
it's interesting because it's like very real life, but it's a very high class family where the father's a professor and they're in Italy.
They're able to talk.
And they're like,
yeah,
and they're like the father is like digs up a Greek statue or something. And yeah, it's very, but at the same time it draws sort of a beautiful parallel between the romance and sort of the forbiddenness of it and this Greek mythology stuff.
Yeah. It's a 5-star for me too. It's number 21 on my all-time list. It's my second favorite film from last year, I think. I think only Silent Voice, if you count the American release date, is higher. So this is better than Mother for me.
So is Mother number 3 for you?
I think so.
Okay.
I feel like there's something else. Oh, World of Tomorrow. But that's a short film.
Yeah.
That's technically number 2. And Call Me By Your Name. The second, World of Tomorrow, by Don Hertzfeldt. But, yeah, I feel like... So here's an interesting thing. Before we, delve into anything about the film, I feel like, based on, the film viewer friends I have at Eastman, it seemed like this film came at a time where a lot of people are having gay film fatigue. Where a lot of people, did not go and watch this film. Just because they're worried it would be pandering, and they're worried that, and they think that it's just like the nth gay film released in a couple of years.
Yeah.
And no matter how much great reviews it gets, it seems like they're just unfazed. They just don't want to see it. And that includes some friends of mine that are gay. So... that's an interesting phenomenon. Like, we talk about superhero fatigue so much, but then every time, like, a Deadpool 2 or an Avengers Infinity War comes out, or even a Black Panther, the box office hit the charts.
Have there been an oversaturation of gay cinema, you think?
I think in terms of it's all about the award ceremonies.
Right.
See? That's when these gay films really, really get brought up. And... maybe there was Moonlight, but that's weird because like with a film like Love, Simon, which came out this year, it seems like when it doesn't have all the award ceremony stuff, it seems like people all went to see Love, Simon because it just seems like a familiar rom-com. I did not like Love, Simon, by the way. I thought it was tropey as all hell broke loose.
I didn't see it.
Yeah, don't watch it. There's no need.
Okay.
I give it 1.5 stars.
Oh wow.
Yeah. But everyone loves it. But, yeah, I think it's an interesting phenomenon. And I don't know. I mean, when a story is told this well, it stops being just a gay film. It's a film about sexual exploration during adolescence.
Oh.
And... I think.
Okay. Well, I mean, yeah, I saw it in that way too, but it was also, very much about the homosexual experience.
Yeah.
And the pain that comes with. But also, like, universal stuff too that is true for anyone, no matter what your orientation is. Like, having a summer fling. Other stuff that is a bit spoilery, which just about what the experience of having that sort of experience. I'm being vague because I don't want to give that stuff
Yeah.
away, but
Yeah. We might as well start talking like them in the movie. The experience of having that experience.
yeah. If there is one criticism I have is they sometimes get a little like I don't know what to call it, like
Flowery.
flowery in the language, but you
Yeah.
can tell why. Like there's a
Yes.
very clear reason why.
Yes.
So it's not like the movie trying to be necessarily like overly expressive necessarily.
Mhm.
It's like genuinely the characters trying to communicate to each other in the best way they know
without
how.
communicating directly to
There's
each other.
a lot of that in this movie, and yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, like
I think a lot of it is how good the acting is.
yeah,
With-
acting is phenomenal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The young guy got Oscar nomination but did not win. I forgot who.
Okay.
Who
Is
won?
the protagonist or the other guy?
The protagonist.
Protagonist? Okay.
Yeah.
Nice. Wow.
I think his performance is because the other guy, he's kind of just like the hotshot American dude.
Uh-huh.
And then it's really very much about Elio's discovery and especially when he's shy, some of the stuff that he does performance-wise is just out of this world. I've never seen it portrayed so realistically.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I will say, like, you know, a film is good when it almost bores you with how realistic it is, when it's actually really going for that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like there were times when like I was imagining to myself, this is such a sweet film, but I don't imagine giving it 5 stars yet because it's not really like pricking that specialness button for me.
Uh-huh.
And then there came a point in the film where I can even tell you the scene once we get into spoilers,
Okay.
where I'm like, oh damn, yeah, this is something special.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is my criteria for giving something 5
You know,
stars.
a similar experience happened with me on this rewatch, actually.
Hmm.
Where it felt like, there came a point where I'm like, wow, is this really worth the high praise that I gave it? And then it continued.
Yeah, it starts off so small and stays at such a small place for most of the film.
Mhm.
It's really interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then it sinks in.
Yeah, I think...
very elegantly.
Yes. I think if you're not there's a specific mindset you have to be in to watch this film.
Mhm.
And we actually tried starting it sometime
We did.
a week and a half ago,
Mhm.
and Mark was not in the right mindset.
I was falling asleep because I was just really tired. And was I on meds at that point? I don't even remember.
You think so?
I probably.
Yeah.
I was taking some medication that makes me drowsy. So we started. I was.
I mean,
Just
that was
like,
after the CVS trip, if you remember the circumstances.
Oh.
Yeah.
I think I had taken some meds and
Yeah.
was like a little bit drugged.
Yeah. But yeah, that... Unlike Neil Breen, though, if you've seen that review, we also tried 2 times to watch that.
Yeah.
This time, Mark... We start from the beginning, obviously. We couldn't start from where we
Yeah,
stopped.
we didn't get that far in. We were like 10 minutes in. We had
Yeah,
to stop.
but
Yeah.
this time, Mark immediately was like, yeah, I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm very intrigued.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Also, the use of soundtrack in this movie is unlike anything I've ever heard.
Oh yeah, I personally love John Adams so
Uh-huh.
much. One spoiler I will give. I think it's okay. There's a piece in there called Phrygian Gates that actually is like, it's so great. It's the reason I got into contemporary music. That piece, like,
Mhm.
I heard it and then I like learned it on the piano as best I could, which wasn't really possible because it's really long and hard.
It's very long.
Yeah.
But it's very
But,
entrancing.
yeah,
Yeah.
I go hard for that stuff.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful.
Yeah, very good just use
Yeah.
of
And
post-impressionistic
yeah,
and post...
and also the protagonist plays the piano very, very well. There are only a few films where I've seen musicians in film done that successfully.
Not even Ryan Gosling in La La Land. Although you do have Shortcuts, the last film we
That was
finished.
also a very good example of a musician in film. Yeah, Shortcuts we just saw has a very good cellist.
Yeah, but she's actually a part of that quartet.
Yes, that was
Yeah.
a situation where it's very obviously she was a musician 1st,
Mhm.
and then she became an actor. Here, the acting is phenomenal, and the playing is great too,
Yeah.
which is really cool.
I
Yeah.
think you can still tell that his fingers were a little stiff.
Mm.
Like, you can still tell that he's not really on the professional level.
He's a graduate pianist.
Oh,
by the
yes,
way,
yes,
so like
yes.
you can totally trust
But-
his opinion.
But I would
Yeah.
much prefer this over... I mean, I love La La Land, but there were moments when you can tell Ryan Gosling's trying his hardest to fake it. And there are some runs where that's not what the notes look
Yeah.
like. I would prefer a pianist really doing it than like a Ryan Gosling faking it.
Mm-hmm. There's only one other film where I've seen piano specifically done this well, and that's The Piano Teacher.
Oof.
Which I don't know if we should watch that. That's a rough film.
I'm very curious.
That's a rough film.
I know.
Yeah.
I know of. I don't know.
Yeah, that's... Whew.
Yeah,
But yeah, the piano playing in that film is phenomenal.
Okay.
I mean,
of course, because it's Michael Haneke.
Yeah, it's Michael
He would
Haneke.
not have it any other way.
Yeah, he would. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
This film actually did remind me of Amour in the way, I don't know if The Piano Teacher's like this, but it treats its protagonist, who clearly is someone who studies music, and the music is only there just like as a fact. Like, he's a musician. Mm-hmm. But we're only going to see it sometimes.
They didn't play on any of the musician tropes. I really like that.
Right. In Amour, it's about this old couple growing old together, but both of them are pianists. But it only comes up sometimes. Mm-hmm. And I think both films do that very well. I would not recommend Amour per se after this film. They're very different movies.
Well, right. I mean, it's a great film, but yeah.
Yeah, but I just really I appreciate the way both these films treat like musicians.
Does Haneke have any love films stories? I'm trying to think.
I mean, more.
I guess it's a love story, but in a very different kind.
That is one of the most disturbing films I've ever seen. It hits all the marks to make me
be careful if you watch that film.
Oh my gosh!
It slaps you in the face hard with its realism.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jeez, Mark. Moving on. How would you recommend things? I don't know. What else should we say before?
You know what movie this reminds me of?
What?
Kind of the obvious one, Moonlight.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moonlight. I mean, it's almost an unfortunate coincidence because they're like a year apart.
Yeah.
But they're very similar in that they're both art house films. Mm-hmm. Are they even both by A24?
No, this one's by Sony Classics.
Oh, okay.
So it's just a matter of a different company purchasing it. Because Call Me by Your Name got such a big buzz at Sundance. Oh. I'm guessing what happened was Sony Pictures Classic had more money because it's a bigger studio, so it just bid higher, while A24 took A Ghost Story and Brigsby Bear. No, Brigsby Bear wasn't A24. A Ghost Story and various other films.
Was Moonlight A24?
Yes,
okay.
Moonlight was A24.
Okay. All right, A24, if you don't know, is a very well-known film company that produces a lot of art house films.
Yeah, it didn't start off that way.
Good art house films. Yeah.
I tried doing a marathon of A24, but the moment I started it, the first few films were all trash, except for Spring Breakers, which is a special kind of trash.
Well,
but they have.
That's its own argument.
But that is an art house film,
trash,
see.
But
a lot of early A24 films are actually quite mediocre. There are a lot of very mediocre rom-coms. Like I saw one called Laggies. Ugh.
Interesting.
What was that? Anyway, enough about A24.
Yeah.
Yeah, Moonlight is one. But the way they tell their story is very different.
Yes, it's also, a very different demographic.
Both try to be poetic in their own way.
Yeah.
But they're very different.
I saw a lot of similarities.
Yeah.
I mean, the differences to me were more in the culture.
Sure.
Than in the storytelling. The storytelling is very similar. Although, I mean, it's been like a year since I've seen Moonlight, so take that with a grain of salt, I guess. But,
yeah, for sure. I mean...
But like the sort of close-up, sometimes blurry cinematography, that... Moonlight's much more surreal, I would say, in how it likes to shoot things. And a little bit more flashy in its cinematography. This one is a lot more about subtlety in cinematography, and oh my gosh, there were times during this film where we usually don't say much when we watch this stuff, but I literally said out loud, "Holy shit, that framing!"
Yeah,
like it wasn't like a holy shit kind of moment. It's just like out of this world, like beautiful compositions.
Believe it or not, the first time that didn't actually hit me. Yeah, for some reason I'm like, oh, the cinematography's okay. But then everyone else who's seen it is like, no, the cinematography's so good. Yeah. And then I'm like, really? And now I watch it and I'm like, yeah, what? What was I on? I will say, I don't think this is really a spoiler, so I'll leave it here. If you want food and drinks that just make you feel...
There's lots of interesting imagery in this film that it's very, very good at making its metaphors very obvious.
It's not just the metaphors. But I'm talking about more the literal stuff.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
When you see apricot juice,
the way
you
they
want to
use
drink.
food, the way they use food and drinks, and like portraying summer in that context, and like we were, but like Kevin at one point just said, "I'm so thirsty right now," and not like the sexual kind of thirsty, like you even made a point, like not that kind of thirsty.
Yeah.
It was like
important distinction in this film.
Yeah, because it gets steamy, but like oh my gosh, that apricot juice looks really.
Do you say apricot?
Oh, what is it?
What do you say usually?
Well, I don't think I've ever had it.
Really?
So...
Well, do you have a particular way of saying the fruit name? Because some people say apricot, some people say apricot. And actually, in the movie, Elio says apricot, and then Oliver immediately says, when they were talking about the etymology.
Oh, really?
Funnily enough, and then like Oliver immediately was like, "Oh yeah, apricot." I have to disagree with you. Okay, that's a bit of a spoiler, but that's near the beginning. Yeah,
that's not too much.
Yeah.
I don't say the word enough. To
okay.
really
I say apricot. I've always said apricot.
I don't even know if I've had apricot juice.
Really? It's like a peach, but like for... Yeah. I've had apricot seed.
Yeah. I'm from Georgia, where like peaches are a thing. So we just have peaches.
I mean, can't go wrong with that.
Yeah, we probably say apricot.
Okay.
Yeah, apricot is more of a... I don't know. I feel like this is something like my mother or grandfather would know better than I do.
Right.
Like, how do you say this word?
Yeah, there's only one way to say it, and it has to be that.
Well, it's not like this isn't the one way to say it. It's like this is how we say it down here.
Right. Oh, I have a film I recommend. Just in vibe, I'm going to recommend My Neighbor Totoro.
Really?
It reminds me of that...
That's a really good comparison. The way that My Neighbor Totoro captures summer is very similar to this film.
Yes.
And it's also very laid back. It's much smaller in scope.
Yes.
That's more about being sort of a more contained children's experience.
Mm-hmm.
But they're very similar.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And maybe to a lesser extent when Marnie was there.
Yeah.
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 Another Ghibli film, not by Miyazaki.
Yeah.
Lesser known.
That's who did that? I don't remember.
He only had one film, I think, and then he later did a film that's... No, he did some other film. Oh, whatever. Yeah, when Marnie was there.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Man, I never would have thought of that.
I had that in the back of my mind when I was rewatching. Just like, Totoro. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Uh-huh. Is there anything else?
Sufjan
Stevens, great singer-songwriter. All the original songs in this were on point. Yeah. Oh, this song was... one of the songs was snubbed because Coco won.
Oh, really?
But if you listen to
Is it original score? Original song for the film?
It's at a particular scene. You remember there were a few times when someone was singing.
Oh, that was for the film.
Yes.
Oh, nice.
And he's, I've listened to his music a lot, and the lyrics in that one song that was nominated, like Coco's great, but I think it's more about the song's place in the film. Mm-hmm. If we're talking objectively of how great a song is, like if you listen to this song, and the singer-songwriter is Christian too, so like you see him in the song lyrics wrestling between lust and religion, or like love, like that type of love and religion. Like, is it something holy or is it something more human? And yeah, it's so cool. It's so cool. Yeah. I think it's time for spoilers.
Okay, yeah, good point to switch over.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, spoiler time.
Spoilers.
Yeah, watch this if you want to. It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, we have a friend who has seen this film, who loves gay films, and I've told you about this. And she hated this film. She thought it was overrated, for one reason specifically. Yeah. And it's a trope that she dislikes.
Interesting. What?
She hates gay films with sad endings. And the only reason she thinks this film is overrated is the fact that it has a sad ending.
Depending on how you interpret it. I mean, surface value, it's sad.
Yeah.
But I don't know. You could see it much more optimistically.
Right, exactly.
Too. It's a lot of things.
It is a lot of things.
Like it's, if you're looking at it in a trope sense, it is kind of a trope. But
the way it's done here,
yeah, like
it's like life.
It wasn't capitalizing on the sadness,
right?
In the same way that I think that trope usually does,
right? No, even compared to a film like Blue is the Warmest Color, where, yeah, it just gets somehow the way it's executed here. I mean, that last shot is so great. Talk about like
that last shot
with the fireplace,
yeah.
But like we were just talking about how so we started off this series with a couple of older films. So every time the end credits came, that was basically the end of the film. And then we watched a couple more modern films where like there's actually like the blackout and the end credits go on for 10 minutes. This film, it kind of we didn't have to wait that long after the last scene, and it's great. It's
nice because like usually with this kind of pacing, only a director who's really into slow experiences could get away with a shot that long. And that kind of shot would be impossible if it were not for the text sort of keeping your attention.
Right.
Yeah, which is really clever
it's
because that allows them
together
to capture this very, very long moment. But place it in a way that fits the tone and the style of this film.
Yeah.
Which is very, very clever.
And also the song that's placed then, because as soon as Elio and Oliver actually have sex for the first time, there's barely any soundtrack. And that makes me think like he actually had the idea of using music as sexual tension. Like it's only the moments of sexual tension where he really uses music.
That just made me think of another film.
What?
Anomalisa.
Yeah?
Yeah.
In what way?
Specifically, the sex.
Yeah. I actually thought of that.
Yeah. Yeah. There are very few times in the film where, like, they really explore, like, the moment of sex and do it really successfully. Anomalisa is one of the few examples where I still prefer Anomalisa more. It's because I adore that movie.
Okay.
But, I mean, this is great, too. But it's one of the few examples of where they really portray, like, sex itself happening in a way that's like aesthetically pleasing but also like real and very just really makes the film.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing with Anomalisa though. It's a stop motion puppet movie. Yeah. Which kind of is out of this world that it's a stop motion puppet movie, but it captures sex so wonderfully. And that's Kaufman directing. That's not just his script.
Yeah.
He has a knack for this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Can't wait for the next Kaufman film next year. Wasn't it called like I Want to End It All or something?
Oh my god!
It's something like that. It's a novel adaptation, but that's Kaufman. Yeah, what was I talking about? We were talking about the sex. Oh, yeah, music as sexual tension, particularly the track "Boat on the Ocean," Barque, sur mer. It keeps on playing, just that tiny snippet of it, and it plays only when Elio is left alone. Like Oliver goes to grab a cigarette, Elio's left alone, the music plays. And there's just there's a dreamlike quality to this movie that I think is so fascinating because it's also so realistic and the pacing is so languid, but there's a very clear very, a very dreamlike quality. And I think the music is a big part of it. Yeah. I want to see this director's other films. He has other films that are very highly rated. Yeah. Also, all very unconventional. I've heard they're all super indie and super weird. Yeah. And he's making a Suspiria remake next year. Or coming out later this year, actually.
What is that?
Suspiria is the Italian horror film that we went to the little theater to see.
We saw it?
No, you didn't.
Oh, okay.
But it's the film club. I don't think Suspiria should ever be remade, but if this director insists on remaking it, I'll give it a shot. I'm actually pretty optimistic because this director, he knows his stuff. Yeah. Do you have another point? I have other points, but I don't want to.
I kind of said what I wanted to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Let's talk about that speech at the end with the dad.
Oh,
yeah.
I had a dad like that.
Right. That's just. Man, last
really
year was Michael Stuhlbarg's year. That actor, he was in 3 of the 9 Academy Award nominated films. Wow. He was in Shape of Water. He was in this, and
good on him and his agency.
Yeah, and he was in The Post. And before that, I think the only film that he was noteworthy for that I know of is A Serious Man by the Coen brothers, which I haven't seen, but everyone tells me to see it. So, yeah, but he's just this actor that I've recognized the face of, and all of a sudden he's in all this stuff, and it's great.
It reminded me of, I mean, this could be just stereotyping people with beards, but like a mix of Robin Williams and the guy from, and in all of Lanthimos' films.
Colin Farrell?
Colin Farrell.
Well, bearded Colin Farrell.
Yeah.
Yeah, facial hairless Colin Farrell is very different. He looks like a freaking playboy. Faceless character. Yeah, but you're right. I see it. I don't know. He has slightly different facial features, though. Yeah. But yeah, that speech was... I mean, I love the way they make you guess whether the parents know or not.
Yeah.
And I think the mom knew at the same time as the father, if not even earlier, because she was the one who suggested the trip that they go on together.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the dad's like, okay.
The fact they're so supportive is really nice.
Right, and it's hard. It's rare. Yeah. It's rare to see. It's the fact that the girlfriend is so supportive. I mean, you can tell she's bleeding inside, but like the way they.
I will say that's one thing I didn't like about the film.
Really?
Not that we was accepting, but that they had that last scene where they wrapped everything up. I didn't feel that was necessary.
Really?
I didn't think that was really necessary.
that got to me.
That got to you? Okay.
Yeah.
That didn't touch me very much.
Okay.
Yeah. To me, it sort of just read as, like, we're wrapping up her storyline.
I can see why.
I would have almost been more satisfied if, like, they had left it at, she just kind of pissed at him that he...
Yeah. I wouldn't have preferred that.
Okay.
This was a good touch.
Okay.
Yeah, in my opinion.
That's fair.
Yeah, man, there's got to be more. I really like the dance scene, and how, I don't know, the way that was lit and shot. That's just something I
compare that dance scene to something like Virgin Suicides or something.
Oh my gosh, why would we?
When we talking about like teenage like awkwardness,
right?
This like that whole dance scene is like teenage awkwardness, but.
But Sofia Coppola-ified.
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, in this film, it's teenage awkwardness with that dance scene. And
it's kind of awkward. Yeah. It's I don't know.
Well, I mean, to me, it read as awkward, but it's less just awkward and more like you feel sorry for the guy, for Elio.
Wait, really?
Or I don't know.
I didn't feel that way.
I mean, how you feel about the protagonist all has to do with who you are and how you feel.
Right,
about
that's true.
That situation in general, which is going to be totally subjective.
Okay,
but,
right.
Yeah. But...
Yeah, I guess so. There should be more to talk about.
I don't know. I mean, the film it's almost simple in a way. And
it's very
the themes
simple
it explores, but like it goes very deep into them.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, the whole speech that the father gives at the end.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I mentioned there was a scene that like really got me on board.
Uh-huh. Oh, right.
Yeah, it was right when he started crying after
the peach.
Oliver, the peach.
Yeah.
Yeah, because initially, like, I was cracking up just because of how human that was.
Uh-huh.
Of like him wanting to eat this peach that he had just ruined.
Yeah.
And the other character just being so ashamed that he had done that.
Yeah.
Like, how more human can you get? And then for him to break down, that was beautiful.
Yeah, that's a very cool moment. And and believe it or not, if you're on film Twitter at all, the peach scene was ruined from the beginning. Everyone tweeted about it.
Oh man.
I mean,
I knew about it.
I already knew there was something to look for. I didn't know what it was, but like, I mean, you know.
Yeah, as soon as they picked the peach, I knew. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Forbidden. I even said forbidden fruit.
Uh-huh.
And then you looked at me like, oh, this is something gonna be important, isn't it?
Well, I'm like, you don't even know the heck of it. But yeah, that scene was slightly ruined for me. That scene became a big meme on film Twitter. Yeah. Yeah, I was actually just gonna mention the peach scene when you mentioned that. So hey, there you go.
Yeah.
You want to see something filthy? Yeah. Also the fact that I feel like one of the reasons people might be turned off by the film, at least I've heard, I told someone to watch this film, they're like, aren't they like 17 or something, the protagonist?
Mm.
Yeah.
That sort of adds to the forbiddenness, though.
Exactly.
I think, which I think was a good choice.
It adds to everything. It adds to
everything.
the parents.
Yeah.
The parents' reactions.
Yeah.
It adds to both Oliver's guilt and Elio's hesitance.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just all it's all wonderful. Now I'm touching that mic. Yeah. Great. It's great stuff. Now I feel like summer's truly started.
Yeah. Yeah, this would have been a great movie to start with. I agree.
See ya?
Yeah.
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 I'm sad I didn't show it.
Yeah. Me
At
too.
the end of the semester.
Me too. People would have liked this.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Maybe we should share this video with the crew. Oh, they have to see the film first, I guess.
Well,
they can watch the pre.
They can watch the pre just so that we can get Mark's seal of approval too.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Hey, people listen. People care.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. I'll take your word for it.
Okay. I think that's it.
Okay.
Go see this movie.
Yeah, go see this movie. It's great.
Bye.